Everyone. Today's topic for collaborative learning session is alveoloplasty, presented by me, Bhageshri Bhui, guided by Dr. Bhushan Bhagat sir and Dr. Narayan Pandey sir. Alveoloplasty is a part of pre-prosthetic surgical technique. So today's session contains definition of pre-prosthetic surgery, classification of pre-prosthetic surgical techniques, definition of the alveoloplasty and its type, goals of the alveoloplasty, indication and contraindication of the alveoloplasty, armamentarium or the instrument which is used for alveoloplasty, preoperative planning, what is the alveolar compression, primary alveoloplasty and its procedure for single tooth and multiple tooth, Dean's alveoloplasty, Obligazer's modification of Dean's alveoloplasty, secondary alveoloplasty, post-operative instruction and the risk or complication after the alveoloplasty. Now what is the pre-prosthetic surgery? Pre means before and the prosthetic means the part of the body is artificial one which used to replace natural one. So the surgeries which can be done before any prosthesis like complete denture, removable partial denture or the implants is called pre-prosthetic surgery. Pre-prosthetic surgery is concerned with the surgical modification of the alveolar process and its surrounding structure to enable the fabrication of well-fitting, comfortable and aesthetic dental prostheses. The ultimate goal of pre-prosthetic surgery is to prepare the mouth to receive the dental prosthesis by redesigning and smoothing of bony edges or the remove excess flabby ridge or the undercuts or is there bony spicules may present. Now the classification of pre-prosthetic surgical technique. These are classified as hard tissue surgical technique and soft tissue surgical techniques. Hard tissue surgical techniques are classified as first is alveolar ridge preservation, second is alveolar ridge augmentation, which is again further classified for maxilla and the mandible. For the mandible, which includes superior border augmentation, inferior border augmentation, visar osteostomy, interposition bone grafting and alveolar distraction osteogenesis. For maxilla, it includes onlay bone graft, interpositional bone graft, sinus fit and alveolar distraction osteogenesis. Third classification of hard tissue surgery is alveolar ridge correction, which includes primary alveoloplasty, secondary alveoloplasty, excision of tori, mylohyoid reduction, genyl tubercle reduction, maxillary tuberosity reduction and tuberoplasty. Fourth hard tissue surgical technique is orthognathic surgery, which includes segmental surgery and total jaw surgery. Now the soft tissue surgical techniques are classified as first is frenectomy, second vestibuloplasty, third mental nerve repositioning, fourth redundant tissue excision which includes alveolar flabby ridge, denture granuloma, epilis fissuratum and reactive inflammatory hyperplasia of the palate. Now what is the alveoloplasty? It can be defined as alveoloplasty is a surgical pre-prosthetic procedure performed to facilitate removal of teeth and smoothen or reshape the jawbone for prosthetic and cosmetic purpose. Means after the extraction of the teeth, residual crest irregularities may seen or there can be undercuts or bony spicules may present. So in this procedure of alveoloplasty, the bony edges of alveolar ridge and its surrounding structure is made smooth or recontoured so that a well-fitting and comfortable denture can be inserted. Conservation is the key factor of this procedure. Types of the alveoloplasty are first is alveolar compression, second primary alveoloplasty which includes Dean's primary alveoloplasty and Obligazer's modification of Dean's alveoloplasty. Third is secondary alveoloplasty. Goals of the alveoloplasty are to provide optimal ridge contour quickly. The alveolar ridge should be left as broad as possible for maximum distribution of the masticatory load. There should be absence of sharp irregularities. The ridge need not be perfectly smooth, but the sharp irregularities should be removed and the edge should be rounded. The mucosa covering the ridge should have uniform thickness and the density for the even transmission of masticatory forces to underlying bone and provide support to the denture. In younger patient, less amount of bone should be removed because the process of resorption extends for longer number of years than the older patient. Now the indication and contraindication of the alveoloplasty. Alveoloplasty indicated to the patient with prominent and dense alveolar bone undergoing extraction. It also indicated to remove sharp edges, bony prominences or undercuts prior to prosthetic rehabilitation. It is done as a procedure prior to the construction of an immediate denture. Alveoloplasty contraindicated in uncooperative patients when removing of bone would harm vital structure, if there is diminished volume or atypical architecture of bone, patients who have undergone radiation therapy to head and neck, patient with acute periapical or periodontal pathogenesis, and the patient with deliberating diseases. Now the instrument or armamentarium which is used for the alveoloplasty are: one is bone ronger. It is most commonly used for bone removal in dentoalveolar surgery. It has a sharp blade and squeezed together by handle. It is used for cutting and pinching of the bone. The lip spring is present between the handle. Because of this, instrument response reopens when handle pressure is released. There is a two major designs of bone ronger are seen. One is side cutting forceps and another one is a side and end cutting forceps. Second is bone file. It is double-ended instrument. It cannot be used for removal of large amount of bone. It is used for final smoothing of the bone. Teeth of the bone files are designed in that fashion so that bone can be smoothened by pull stroke only. Pushing stroke of the bone file should be avoided because of this it causes crushing of the bone. And third is a rotary burrs and handpits, which is also used for cutting and trimming of the bone. Now what is the pre-operative planning should be done before alveoloplasty? First, take a proper case history of the patient, then ask about if the patient has any systemic condition or confirm that whether the patient is on any medication or not. Then do the clinical examination and check for the bony projection, undercuts and other gross ridge abnormalities, and also check if there is any periodontal pathology. Then do the radiographic examination for any written root tips, impacted teeth and bony pathology. Evaluate the inter-arch relationship in 3 dimensions while doing treatment planning for denture patient. The degree of maxillary sinus pneumatization, the position of inferior alveolar canal and the mental foramina important as well to avoid impingement of denture on this vital structure, which may trigger more problem to the patient. As we discussed before, the type of alveoloplasty, first is alveolar compression. Alveolar compression is the easiest and quickest method. It is simplest form of the alveoloplasty, which involves compression of the cortical plate with the index finger and the thumb after simple tooth extraction, which causes reduction in socket width and progress healing process. Primary alveoloplasty. Primary alveoloplasty is the term used to describe the trimming and removal of labiobuccal alveolar bone along with some interdental and interradicular bone. It is carried out at the time of extraction of the teeth. It can be done for single tooth as well as for multiple tooth also. Now the procedure of primary alveoloplasty for single tooth. Here one example is given which shows supraeruption of maxillary molar. When tooth is hypererupted due to the absence of opposing tooth, bone irregularity is usually observed after the extraction of the tooth. This may cause problem for the normal healing process and abnormality of the alveolar bone, resulting in obstruction of the placement of prosthetic restorative appliances. So in such cases, immediately after the extraction of the tooth, recontouring of the bone in the area should be performed. So now start with the procedure. Examine the site and give local anesthesia to the patient. Then place clavicular incision along the gingival margin and elevate the full thickness mucoperiosteal envelope flap for single tooth. Now what is the full thickness flap? Bone is covered with mucosa, below that connective tissue and then periosteum. So when we elevate the flap along with periosteum is a full thickness flap, and when we cut only the mucosa and connective tissue is a partial thickness flap. So now back to the procedure. Before that we elevate the full thick mucoperiosteal flap. Now remove the required amount of bone with the help of bone ronger or trim with the rotary burr. After that, smoothen the bone with the help of bone file, and after that irrigate the area with the help of saline. Now place the flap back to the position and suture it. Now the primary alveoloplasty for multiple tooth. The procedure is almost same as that mentioned above for single tooth. Here, after the extraction of tooth, multiple gross interseptal irregularities may seen. Here we need to place a clavicular incision along incision and relieving incision. Means relieving incision is the vertical incision. For single tooth, horizontal incision can be enough, but here we need to make relieving incision. After that, elevate the full thickness mucoperiosteal flap. Remove the sharp bony edges with the help of bone ronger. Now smoothen the bone with the help of bone file. Remove excess tissue with the help of scissor and place the flap back to the position and suture it. Here it will look like this after the healing. Now Dean's interceptor primary alveoloplasty. In 1923, Dean's proposed advanced technique of primary alveoloplasty. It is used only in maxilla, mainly in anterior region from canine to canine. It is carried out immediately after the extraction of tooth. Indications of Dean's alveoloplasty are to decrease gross maxillary overjet, multiple extraction or early initial post-extraction period, where adequate bone height exists but an undercut is present on buccal aspect of maxillary ridge. Advantages are, it does not require raising a mucoperiosteal flap. It is carried out immediately after the extraction. Here, maintenance of periosteal attachment to the labial plate of the bone, which decreases the post-operative bone resorption and helps in remodeling. It has got ability to reduce a buccal undercut or labial prominence without significantly reducing the height of alveolar bone. Overall, less alveolar bone resorption less alveolar bone resorption than with the use of buccal reduction technique. It has a best long-term result. Disadvantage of this technique is decreases ridge thickness. Now the procedure of Dean's interceptal primary alveoloplasty is: first, give LA to the patient, then place a clavicular incision along the gingival margin. Then envelope flap is raised as conservatively as possible. Envelope flap is also known as horizontal flap, and it is made by a horizontal intracircular incision with no vertical releasing incision. After the raising of envelope flap, extract the teeth and remove the interradicular bony septa with the help of bone ronger and or the rotary drill. Introduce into the socket and separate the labial and buccal cortical plate. After that, prepare a vertical stop cut in labial cortical plate, distal and posterior to the canine eminence. Vertical stop cuts are V in shape. Now, what is the canine eminence? Canine eminence is a prominence present on the surface of superior maxillary bone which formed by the socket of canine tooth. After the preparation of stop cut, the three sides of the labial cortex become free and the labial cortex become freely movable. Now, apply the finger pressure to the labial cortical plate, which is collapsed towards the socket, and place the suture. Now, the Obligazer's modification of Dean's alveoloplasty. In Dean's alveoloplasty, we reposition the labial cortical plate only. In this modification, we need to reposition both the labial and palatal cortical plate. This is done when the anterior overjet is too gross that cannot be reduced by labial plate repositioning. In Dean's alveoloplasty, first we give the LA to the patient, then place a clavicular incision and elevate the envelope flap. After that, teeth are extracted and the interradicular bony septa is removed. So, after the cutting the interseptal bone, an inverted cone vulcanite burr is used to widen the socket at the base. With small disc or burr, horizontal cuts are made at the base of the extraction socket in the labial and palatal cortical plate. With straight fissure burr, vertical cuts are then made bilaterally in both labial and palatal cortical plate in the area distal to canine socket. With digital pressure, both labial and palatal cortical plates are compressed together and suture it. If immediate denture delivery is planned, then the denture can be made in clear acrylic so that it can be used as a template to check for any pressure point. The area showing blanching should be judiciously trimmed before suturing. Final fit of the denture should be checked so that rocking of the denture is not present. Now, the secondary alveoloplasty. Secondary alveoloplasty is usually done in edentulous patient. When bone corrective surgery is done on edentulous ridge for irregularity after the initiation of extraction socket healing, it is termed as secondary alveoloplasty. Sometimes after tooth extraction and the wound has been healed for a long time, the residual ridge may present irregularities at the certain point or even along the entire alveolar ridge. In such cases, bone must be smoothened to avoid injury and obstruction to the proper support of the denture. Here, a sharp knife edge like edentulous ridge causes great denture irritation. They are usually found in anterior part of the mandible. Localized tenderness over such ridge on palpation or on wearing denture is common. The ridge may also show an irregular pattern known as feather edge ridge. Now, the procedure. Incision should be made on the crest of alveolar ridge. Then usually an envelope flap would suffice, but releasing incision can be made on labial side to provide broad base to the flap. Then excessive bone cut with the help of bone ronger. Bony contouring is done with the help of bone file. After that, digital palpation can be used to determine the uniformity of the ridge. Digital palpation means with the help of the finger. Once satisfying results are obtained, the region is irrigated copiously with saline to remove debris or bone pieces. After that, the flap is closed and suture it. This is the picture before the surgery, which showing the irregularities of the edentulous alveolar ridge of the mandible after multiple tooth extraction. And in the right side picture, right side picture is after the surgery, showing healing of the tissue. Now, what are the post-operative instructions should be given to the patient? Keep gauze in mouth for 2 hours with good pressure. Avoid too hot cold, spicy or crunchy food. Do not rinse or spit vigorously and avoid sucking through a straw. Do not smoke or drink alcohol for 48 hours. Place ice pack only for 24 to 48 hours to control swelling. Rinsing gently using glass of warm salt water the day after surgery. Rinse 3 to 4 times a day until the surgical area has healed. Use gentle toothbrushing. Prescribe antibiotics, analgesics along with antacids. If patient have uh, if patients have dissolvable suture, then they can take up to the take they can take up to 3 to 4 weeks to dissolve. If you do not have dissolved suture, it should be removed at given appointment. Follow up after the 7 to 10 days. Now, risk of the alveoloplasty includes excessive bleeding. This is a rare complication. The area probably will bleed for first 24 hours after the surgery and then taper off. If there is a significant bleeding or increased swelling after the first 24 hours, then you should contact your surgeon. Second is infection. Because there are many bacteria in mouth, there is always risk of infection. For that, antibiotics are prescribed by the dentist. Or if there is any indication of the infection like fever, chills and inflammation of the area, then take advice of your surgeon. Third is a wound opening. The stitches may become loose, which open the wound and expose the bone. Fourth risk is can be trauma to the nerve. It is usually done while doing alveoloplasty of the lower jaw. Due to trauma to the nerve, patient will feel numbness over the lip or chin after the local anesthetic warm off. Nerve heals slowly. It can take 3 to 6 months for them to heal completely. So here our topic for alveoloplasty is over. I would like to thank Dr. Bhushan sir and Dr. Pandey sir. Thank you for patient listening. Thank you.